developments in the field of genetics. So let's say I am teaching science again for my grade 9 science lesson. And I would want to gather information about the recent developments. And here I can actually get help from Gemini. In this case, because I'm using the deep research, you'll notice that what it does is it doesn't just give me the answers, but it gives me a research plan. And if I'm happy, then so it tells me what it will do and what websites it will search. And if I'm happy, then I can start the research. And then it will actually go and pull information from many different websites and put that information in a nice report for me. Now, something to keep in mind, this usually takes about 5, 7, 8 minutes, depending on how complex my research project is. So we don't have time now during the demo to wait for this research to be finished, but I'll show you an example of a report that I've generated before, and this is how it would look like. So this is an example of a report that Gemini generated based on a very similar prompt. So it created a document that's like 16 pages long. As you see, it pulls information from many different sources. It shows me where the information was pulled from. So I do have clear citations, and this is something that I can go back and double check. I do have the information nicely arranged into a table. So this is something that can actually save me a lot of time when I need to sort of synthesize a lot of information and summarize it and make connections between different sources. So we do have a few other questions in the chat I will quickly answer. So so if you do have text written on an image, you can use Gemini to help you translate that text. So when you start a new chat, you'll see that you have the plus sign, and here you could upload files, you could add an image, or you could share something from your Google Drive, and you can ask it to translate the text. So that's something that is possible. For the drawing, once again, you cannot edit the drawings, you cannot add, you cannot change things directly in Gemini, but you could get, for example, the image from Gemini and edit it in another tool like Google Drawings or something like that. And can it be used in mathematics, especially statistics? It can be used with some limitations. Keep in mind that Gemini is a large language model, so it's working mainly with text. The recent models are more advanced, and they can actually analyze data to a certain extent, but especially when it comes to statistics, I would take it with a grain of salt. So I would not rely on it for statistical analysis just yet. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay, so let me quickly also show you what's available in Notebook LM, and then I'll show you what's available with the Gemini Education upgrade. So I do want to showcase Notebook LM because this is also one of the tools that can be very helpful. I will change the screen though, so I will change what I'm actually sharing so you can see Notebook LM in action. What's the story with Notebook LM? So Notebook LM is a tool from Google that uses Gemini as well. And when we use Notebook LM, basically it actually allows us to use Gemini with a list of documents and slide decks and sites that we choose. So you've seen me use Gemini before, and I was asking it for help with lesson planning and writing the lab safety rules and whatnot. It pulled information from the web as well. So that's available across the board. It can pull information and it will include it in the response. If I'm using Notebook LM, on the other hand, I'm working with what's called notebooks. So in a notebook, I choose what starting documents I'm using. So here I have an example of a notebook that I've created for teaching this unit, so sustainable resource use and management. And you see that I have some sources here. So I could add a source, and this can be a Google document, it could be a PDF file, it could be an audio file, it could be a YouTube video, it could be just copied text, or it could even be an audio recording. I add my sources. So here in my list of sources for this notebook, you see the syllabus or the curriculum for this unit. I do have YouTube videos. I have 4 YouTube videos. I have a PDF with some information about this topic. And I do have all of these options. So this is the starting point. Once I have this, I can then use Notebook LM to analyze the information in these documents. So I can actually start looking at, for example, if I want to generate a mind map, summarizing all the information I have in these resources, I will be able to generate it with one simple click, and then I can use that interactive mind map to explore things around. So this is generated automatically based on what I had in my documents, and I can of course explore this. I could share this with my students as an image, so I can actually use this as a starting point. I also have, for example, and this is one feature that could be quite useful. I can ask it questions. So based on my sources, I could ask it like, what is precipitation? Precipitation. And this is where, if I would ask Gemini this, it would give me generic answers pulled from the web. If I'm asking Notebook LM, it will only give me answers from my sources. So this is where I do have this information pulled from these sources only, and it also shows me where this information is coming from. So it shows me clearly the source for this information. In this case, because I'm using Notebook LM, I know that I chose these sources, so the information is already curated. So to answer partly the first part of the answer for the question we just had in the chat about how can I make sure the responses are accurate and reliable, this is based on documents that I chose. So if I chose the documents correctly, that would be more than okay in terms of reliability. If, on the other hand, I am going to Gemini and I'm asking it the same question, what is precipitation? Just to showcase how this would work in Gemini. So I'm asking the same question I just did in Gemini. As you see here, it does generate an answer. It also shows me the source, but these are external sources. These are not sources I chose. But what Gemini has, and this is a really important feature, I do have, so let me show you the Gemini interface as well. What I have is, in Gemini, I do have the option, so this is a response that it generates for the same question I had in Notebook LM. So what is precipitation? It generates the source, the answer. It shows me the sources. These are external. They are not chosen by me. But what I have is I can go to more, and here I have the option to double check my responses. So whenever I have information that's factual information that's pulled from the web, I can double check the responses, and here you'll see that they are highlighted in green. So everything that's highlighted in green is double checked. It's okay. If you want to expand and see where this information was pulled from and double check the source manually, you can do that as well. If there are some statements that are highlighted in a different color, it's usually yellow or orange, that means that you might want to manually have a look at the source and double check that. So you can definitely evaluate the output, and this is a feature that's built in. So once again, you can just go to more and double check response. Keep in mind, this works for factual information. So for the lesson plan, for example, it didn't really include a lot of factual information that it had to pull from different sources. So then it would only double check that part there. So Let me quickly go back to Notebook LM because this is a feature that I do want to show you because it is also one of the amazing features that's available. And also partly that's part of the answer of what's available in Gemini that's not available in ChatGPT, for example. So I did say that I have the collection of my sources here. I can ask it questions, but I can also generate what's called an audio overview. So this basically allows me to generate a podcast style conversation, and this will allow me to listen to the summary of the documents. But even better than that, I can actually interact with the host. So this is how it would look like. I will start playing the conversation. This was all generated by Gemini, and at some point I will join in with a question. So just so you see how this would work.
All right, everybody, welcome back.